There are places the map still remembers even when people do not. Hidden under overgrowth, behind rusted gates and broken bridges, they wait, patient as rot. I was never supposed to go there. The town was called Ashgrove, though locals in the next county over only called it the Hollow. No one had lived there since 1979. A chemical spill, they said, though no records matched. Only fragments. Old newspaper clippings about a church that burned, a missing family, a school bus left abandoned mid-road. But the real reason I went wasn't curiosity. It was guilt. I was part of a small YouTube channel, Echo Chasers. We hunted urban myths, filmed true stories from places that should have stayed forgotten. Our latest upload, Voices Beneath Ashgrove, was supposed to be fake. Sound effects, smoke machines, the usual clickbait, except the audio wasn't fake. The sound engineer, Mason, swore he didn't add anything. He showed me the raw files, hours of static, then a faint voice whispering from under the floorboards, "You shouldn't have found us." He laughed it off, posted it anyway. That night, Mason's house caught fire. No accelerant, no origin point, just ash. 2 weeks later, I decided to return to Ashgrove, alone, to prove we hadn't conjured something real. I parked the car at the tree line before dawn. Mist hung low over the cracked asphalt, turning every shadow into a shape. The wind had a sound like breathing, and then I saw it, right there in the middle of the road. A small, white school bus, door open, engine cold, the same bus from 1979. And as I lifted the camera, something inside whispered, "You came back." The air inside the bus was stale, sweet, like something once alive had long since given up trying to rot. I filmed everything out of habit. My hands shook, but I kept the lens steady. Rows of seats stretched ahead like ribs, sunlight slicing through shattered windows. A thin coat of dust covered the floor, unbroken except for a single set of footprints that led to the driver's seat. And stopped. No exit marks. I zoomed in. The prints were too small for an adult. That's when the wind shifted. The bus door creaked shut behind me, slow and deliberate. The latch clicked without me touching it. "Hello?" My voice came out hoarse. I turned the camera toward the aisle, empty, then back toward the door. It was still closed, locked. The static from my recorder spiked. A soft, rhythmic sound came through the headset. Tap, 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 like fingers drumming on metal. I turned off the recorder, but the tapping didn't stop. It was coming from under the bus. When I finally crawled out the emergency exit at the back, the morning fog had thickened, swallowing the road. The forest loomed beyond the edge of the asphalt. Black trunks, no birds. I checked the GPS, no signal. Ashgrove wasn't on the map anymore. I followed the cracked road into what remained of town. Houses sagged like wet cardboard, their roofs caved in, windows yawning wide. Mailboxes still stood, names faded to ghosts of letters. It looked staged, like a movie set that had never wrapped. The deeper I went, the quieter it became. No insects, no wind, just the soft crunch of gravel under my boots. I found the church at the center of town, or what was left of it. The bell tower had collapsed, spilling chunks of stone into the graveyard. The wooden doors were blackened, burned long ago. A sign leaned sideways in the dirt, First Light Baptist. All are welcome. I don't know why, but I laughed. The sound bounced off the ruins, hollow and wrong. Inside, the pews were reduced to charcoal. The altar was gone, replaced by a gaping hole in the floor, a perfect circle of scorched wood and ash. The camera caught a faint shimmer in the darkness below, like water reflecting light. But there was no light source. I leaned closer. The air was cold, almost metallic. And then I heard it, that same whisper from Mason's recording. "You shouldn't have found us." This time it wasn't from the tape. It came from inside the hole. I stumbled back, hitting a pillar. My flashlight flickered. The temperature dropped fast, breath turning white, camera lens frosting over. I couldn't move, couldn't think. Just stood there staring into the pit, and then a child's laughter, soft, playful. "Right behind me. Are you here to help us?" I spun around, nothing, just pews dissolving into smoke. But the laughter didn't fade. It circled the room, echoing off the burned walls. We waited for the bus. The camera caught motion, faint figures, 3 or 4, flickering like reflections on broken glass. Children, thin, pale. Eyes too dark, I ran. Out the doors, through the mist, across the road, until I collapsed behind an overturned sign that read, "Welcome to Ash Grove, population 412. I checked the camera footage. The figures were gone, only static and faint. Distorted voices remained. But there was something else. A single frame, one that hadn't been there when I filmed. A face, right behind me in the church. Mason's face, burned, smiling, whispering something I couldn't hear. That was when I realized the truth. Whatever haunted Ash Grove hadn't been created by us. It had been waiting for us to return, and Mason had never left. By the time I reached the old diner, the fog had started to move. Not drift, move as though it had a rhythm, a pulse. Every few seconds, it would part, revealing shapes in the distance. Houses, fences, a swing set still swaying, though the air was dead calm. I ducked inside the diner. The bell above the door gave a single dull chime, then fell silent. It looked almost untouched. Cracked leather booths, counters thick with dust, coffee cups still half full, though the liquid inside had gone black and tar-like. The calendar on the wall said June 1979. Every page after that was missing. The static from my camera had gone silent, completely dead. I took a seat by the window, trying to steady my breathing. The last footage I'd reviewed, Mason's burned face whispering behind me, wouldn't leave my head. The thought looped endlessly. You came back. A sound broke through the quiet, the faint scrape of shoes against tile. I turned. A man stood behind the counter. His clothes were gray with ash, his skin pale as dust. He wasn't looking at me, just staring at the coffee pot like it still worked. His lips moved slightly. Too late for the morning crowd. His voice rasped like paper tearing. I tried to speak, but nothing came. My throat had dried up. He finally looked up, eyes hollow, black-rimmed, no whites visible. You shouldn't have come back, son. They remember you. That stopped me cold. Me? He smiled faintly. His teeth were wrong. Gray, uneven, too many of them. Everyone who hears them belongs here. Before I could move, he reached for the old radio behind the counter. It clicked on by itself. A child's voice filtered through static. Bus is late again. Then another voice, softer, layered beneath the first. Older, weary. We burned it all. Thought it would end. But fire doesn't kill a whisper. The man's eyes rolled back. His head tilted as if listening to something deep inside the static. They're calling, he murmured. You brought them back. The lights flickered once. When they steadied, the man was gone. The coffee pot had shattered, but something moved inside it, small shapes writhing like insects. I didn't look closer. I ran. The street outside had changed. The fog was thicker now, almost liquid. Buildings warped in and out of view like mirages. The asphalt beneath my feet had softened, like stepping on flesh. Somewhere in the distance, a child began humming a nursery rhyme. It was faint, but growing clearer with every step I took toward the edge of town. Ring around the rosy. My flashlight beam trembled. The song cut off, replaced by soft sobbing. Hello? I called. Is someone there? A figure emerged from the mist, small, hunched. A girl, maybe 10 or 11. Her dress was white, soaked to gray, hair plastered to her face. She was holding a stuffed rabbit missing its head. You shouldn't be here, she said softly. I crouched down. Hey, I just want to help. What happened here? It's too late, her voice cracked. We all stayed when the bus stopped. Mama said we'd be fine, but it wasn't smoke. It was them. Who? She looked up, eyes hollow black, tears leaving trails through the soot, the ones under the ground. And then she smiled. A wrong, twisted smile that stretched too far. They like your voice. She turned and ran into the fog. When I tried to follow, the ground gave way beneath me. I fell through a collapsed roadway into a basement, hit hard, my camera clattering beside me. The walls down there were lined with photographs. Hundreds of them. Families, school portraits, smiling children, all burned around the edges. Each photo had something scratched into it in black ink. Listen. And on the far wall, a single, newer photo, printed on glossy paper. It was of me, standing in the church, camera in hand, staring into the hole. Beneath it, written in shaky handwriting, "We found you." I screamed, not loud, just enough to break the silence. From somewhere above, footsteps began to echo. Dozens of them, Slow, heavy, deliberate. I grabbed the camera and shone the light upward. Shadows moved across the basement ceiling. Not people, but shapes crawling along the walls. Like reflections detached from any body, a whisper drifted down. You shouldn't have found us. But you did. The flashlight went dead. When I came to, I was lying in the middle of the road again. The fog had thinned slightly. My phone buzzed. One unread message. Unknown number. It was a link to our old Echo Chasers channel. The thumbnail showed me, inside the church, mouth open mid-scream. The title, Live, Voices Beneath Ashgrove, 24/7 broadcast. I hadn't streamed anything. The channel had been dead since Mason's fire. I opened it anyway. The footage was live, timestamp current. But the angle wasn't from my camera. It was from behind me. A voice came through the feed, calm, female, almost mechanical. Viewers, 12,412. Another voice, faint but growing. You shouldn't have come back. The chat was flooded. Thousands of users typing the same thing over and over again. Listen, listen, listen. Then the feed cut to black. The phone screen flickered once, showing the reflection of my face and something behind me. Standing at the edge of the trees. Tall, ash-colored, human only in outline. I don't remember running, but I ended up back at my car, breath tearing through my chest. The keys were gone. The door wouldn't open. The windows fogged from the inside. Though I was outside, something knocked from within, once, twice, then a long, dragging scrape. The radio turned on, no power, no keys, just that same child's voice again. The bus is late. I looked toward the road, and there it was, the white school bus, headlights now glowing faintly through the mist. Its door creaked open, and Mason was standing in the doorway, not burned now, whole, smiling. They want to finish the story. Then the door closed, and the bus engine sputtered to life. The headlights turned toward me. The bus engine roared to life, coughing black smoke into the fog. The smell wasn't fuel. It was burning hair, flesh, and something chemical that clung to the throat like poison. I stumbled backward, tripping over roots breaking through the asphalt. My flashlight shook in my grip as the bus idled, its headlights cutting long yellow cones through the mist. Through the windshield, Mason stood motionless behind the wheel, his head tilted slightly, his smile stretched too wide. The seats behind him were filled, silhouettes of passengers sitting perfectly still, small, childlike. The radio in my pocket crackled. "Take your seat," a woman's voice whispered. "We've been waiting." I ran. The road beneath my boots pulsed like something alive. With every step, the fog seemed to follow, whispering in my ear. "Don't leave us. Stay. You came for the truth." I reached the tree line and ducked into the woods, scraping my arms on broken branches. The forest was silent. No crickets, no wind, no life. Only the soft hum of the bus engine behind me, steady, patient. When I finally stopped, I realized I could still hear the engine, even though I'd run at least half a mile. Then I heard it, the click of the camera powering on by itself. I hadn't touched it. The red recording light blinked. The screen showed me, standing in the woods, breathing hard. But there was something else. A tall figure standing behind me, face hidden by the fog. I turned around. Nothing. When I looked back at the camera screen, the figure was closer. I threw the camera. It hit a tree and cracked, but the audio kept playing. "You brought them back," Mason's voice whispered from the broken speaker. "Now they remember the way out." The woods opened onto an overgrown path leading down to the old factory, the one I'd seen on the satellite maps before they vanished from my GPS. The sign above the rusted gate read, "Ash Grove Processing Plant." I pushed through. Inside, the air was thick and wet. The walls were covered in handprints, hundreds of them, burned into the concrete like shadows frozen mid-scream. The deeper I went, the louder the whispers became. Not one voice, but dozens, layered, murmuring the same phrase again and again. We stayed when the bus stopped. My flashlight flickered. I caught glimpses between the pulses of light. Shapes crawling along the ceiling, faces pressed into the walls, mouths opening and closing in silent rhythm. A figure stepped out from the darkness ahead. It was Mason. He looked almost normal now, his clothes untouched, skin whole. But his eyes were hollow pits, leaking thin streams of ash. "It wasn't supposed to be real," I said. He tilted his head. "You recorded it. That made it real." "What are they?" "Memories," he said softly. "But memories don't die. They wait." He reached out his hand. "Come see." The air behind him shimmered, and I saw them. The children from the bus, standing in a semicircle, faces blank, eyes black. One by one they began to hum that same tune, "Ring Around the Rosie." Their voices grew louder, blending into a chorus that shook the floor. The concrete cracked open beneath my feet. From the darkness below came the stench of rot and sulfur. Shapes began crawling out. Ash-gray figures, skin melted to bone, mouths gaping like wounds. I ran for the stairs, but the door at the top slammed shut. Mason's voice echoed through the factory. "You wanted to tell true stories, didn't you?" The whispers became screams. The children began to laugh, their voices merging into something inhuman. The ash creatures clawed up from the pit, dragging their burned limbs behind them. Every time one touched the floor, the ground pulsed, a heartbeat that wasn't mine. I turned toward the far exit, but Mason was there again, blocking the way. "You filmed it once," he said, voice echoing from every wall. "Now it will never stop." He lifted his hand and the world seemed to glitch, the air splitting into static, like bad video feed. The room flickered between light and dark, between now and then. For a moment, I saw the factory as it had been, full of workers, children laughing, machinery humming. Then smoke filled the air. Flames erupted, screams. The workers pounded on locked doors. The children clawed at windows. I saw Mason among them, alive, terrified, burning. Then everything snapped back to the present. "We thought we'd stopped it," he whispered. "We burned the church. We buried the bus. But sound doesn't die." I backed away, shaking. "Sound?" "You heard it," he said, smiling faintly. "The whisper. It's not a ghost, it's a recording." I frowned. "What do you mean?" "This whole place is an echo. Every scream, every word, every fire. It loops. You came with a camera. You gave it a voice again." The floor split wider. The pit beneath glowed orange, as though fire still burned deep underground. The voices rose in pitch until they became unbearable. Mason's form began to blur, his edges dissolving like smoke. "You can't stop it now," he said. "You pressed record." And then he was gone. I bolted through the emergency exit, bursting into the night. The fog had cleared enough to see the town from above, or what was left of it. The streets formed a perfect circle, and at its center, the white bus waited, headlights still burning. The children stood around it in rows, holding hands. Their skin glowed faintly, ash drifting from their bodies like snow. They turned in unison, looking straight at me. The engine revved. "All aboard," whispered a voice behind me. Hands, dozens of small, cold hands, grabbed my arms, my legs, dragging me toward the bus. I screamed, kicking, clawing at the ground. My fingers tore through the dirt, catching something metallic. The camera. I swung it blindly. The screen flickered to life, showing static. Then the church, then the hole, then my face twisted in terror. "Tell our story," they whispered. "Or join it." The bus door yawned open, darkness spilling out like smoke. I raised the camera one last time, pointed it toward my face. "If anyone finds this," I started, breath ragged. "Don't listen to the recording. Don't play it. It's not just sound. It's them." The whisper cut me off. Too late. The bus horn blared, long and low. The sound vibrated through the ground, through my bones, through the air itself. And then everything went white. When I opened my eyes, I was sitting in the driver's seat. The road stretched ahead, empty and endless. The fog rolled away behind me like a curtain. The seats were full again. The children sat silent, heads tilted, eyes fixed on me. The radio hissed softly, then a voice came through, my own voice. Welcome back to Echo Chasers. Today, we're visiting a place called Ash Grove. I tried to speak, but my mouth moved without my control. My voice, calm, rehearsed, mechanical, continued the intro. The camera mounted on the dashboard blinked red. Recording. Outside, the world began to rewind. Trees straightened, houses rebuilt. The bus gleamed white again. Everything looked untouched, new, except for me. I could see my reflection in the mirror. Skin gray, eyes hollow, ash leaking from the corners of my mouth. The bus door opened on its own. The children stepped out, one by one, fading into the fog. A sign appeared ahead on the road, half buried in dirt. Welcome to Ash Grove, and beneath it, scrawled in fresh black paint, true stories never end, the bus engine purred. Somewhere inside, a whisper echoed, your turn to drive. Morning light cut through the fog like a dull blade. The bus sat still in the center of Ash Grove's ruined road, its engine quiet now, the air thick with ash that fell like slow, black snow. I don't know how long I sat there, an hour, a day, a week, staring through the cracked windshield at a town that didn't seem to exist anymore. The children were gone. The houses had dissolved into silhouettes. The only thing left standing was the church's burned frame, black ribs jutting toward a sky the color of lead. The camera on the dashboard still blinked red. Recording. I turned it toward myself. My reflection in the lens looked wrong, washed out, face half transparent, eyes shadowed as if they were being filmed through water. I tried to speak. No sound came out. Somewhere beyond the fog, a siren wailed, distant, distorted. A rescue team, or just the echo of one from years ago? I didn't know anymore. The bus door opened with a long, dry creak. Cold air poured in. I stepped out. The ground was covered in soot, footprints leading away from the bus and disappearing into the mist. My camera screen showed no color now, just gray, as if the world itself had been drained of it. At the edge of the street stood a figure. I thought it was Mason at first, but it wasn't. It was me, older, tired, hollow. I raised the camera and whispered, "Don't listen." Then the fog swallowed him. I wandered through what was left of Ash Grove. The factory was gone. The diner collapsed into dust. Every sound echoed too long, as if bouncing between unseen walls. On the church steps lay something half buried in soot, a tape recorder scorched but intact. Its red light still blinked faintly. I picked it up. The moment my thumb brushed play, the whisper returned. We stayed when the bus stopped. We waited for the story. Now you'll tell it. The sound crawled through the air like smoke, curling around my head. Behind me, the church door groaned open. Inside, the circular hole was still there. Wider now, breathing faintly, ash rising from its edge. Something moved in the pit. Dozens of pale shapes shifting just below the surface. As if waiting for a cue, the recorder hissed, "Record, remember." I turned the device off, but the whisper continued, softer now, almost pleading. If no one listens, we fade. I looked around. The bus, the factory, the houses, they all began to flicker like film burning in a projector. Pieces of the world peeled away, and then I understood. This place survived only when someone told its story. Every recording, every upload, every whisper kept it alive. That was why Mason burned, why the children lingered, why the static spoke. Because silence would kill them. And I, the last one who came back, had given them a new voice. I don't remember leaving. One moment I was in the church. The next, I was walking along a highway under a sunless sky. The sign behind me said, Ash Grove, 12 miles. But when I looked back, there was nothing but forest. My phone buzzed again. New upload complete. True stories from abandoned places you should never visit. I hadn't filmed anything since the factory. The thumbnail showed the bus again, doors open, waiting. The view count climbed by the second. Thousands, then tens of thousands. When I played it, the video showed the town alive again. Children laughing, church bells ringing, a man filming it all. Me. Then the screen went black. A whisper came through my phone speaker. Thank you for listening. Now they'll come to you. It's been months since I left. I sleep in motels, drive by night, never stay anywhere long enough for the static to find me. But sometimes, always around 3 a.m., I hear a bus horn in the distance. Faint, low, waiting, and the whispers begin again, seeping through the vents, the walls, the cracks in the mirror. You came back. Your turn to drive. Tell them where we are. Every morning I find a new subscriber on my channel. The comments keep appearing beneath the last video. Same message, word for word. Listen. The story isn't over. Last night I woke to find the camera recording on its own. The lens pointed toward the motel window. Outside, through the reflection of the glass, I saw headlights, a white bus idling under a flickering streetlight, children sitting inside, staring out, and Mason behind the wheel, smiling patiently. He lifted a hand and pointed straight at me. Then the camera screen flickered, and for a split second, I saw my own face sitting in the driver's seat again. The recording stopped. If anyone finds this, if you're watching the video, reading the transcript, or hearing my voice, stop. Don't share it. Don't replay it. Don't listen, because that's how they survive. Every view, every click, every retelling, it brings them closer. They're not ghosts. They're echoes, looping forever through the places we've forgotten. And now, because of me, they've learned how to travel through sound, through stories, through you. The final clip on my camera shows a simple scene. A deserted road, a bus parked under a dead sky, a sign at the edge of the screen reading, "Welcome to Ashgrove, population, listening." Then faintly, a whisper, softer than breath. True stories never end. The screen fades to black, but the audio keeps going, a single word. Drawn out, low, almost kind, drive.